Hey you guys, welcome back. My name is Storm, and we're back on Master Duel with my updated Salamangreat deck profile for Season 11 of Master Duel. Yeah, so as you can see, I've been managing quite a few updates. There's way more in traps than earlier, and just so you know, uh, I also like worked up on the extra deck for a really long time, and this is like the best one I think there is. So without further ado, let's do it. So for the hand traps, we have one effect Valor. This basically serves as a third infinite impermanence, which sometimes you don't really need to have like three imperm in salads. Well, it's optimal, but sometimes you want to negate something really fast, you know? So you use it like impermanence for that, but your board ain't gonna be like always empty. Hence why you also rely on Effect Valor. But in terms of potential between the two, I think Imperm is better. And that's why I only play one effect Valor. And in the worst possible case, it's one card that I can banish with Pot of Desires, so it's not that bad. It just make my deck like a 39 card deck. So for me, it's perfect like this. It just serves as a like if I have it, that's good. If I don't have it, that's good. So yeah. Next, I play two Maxi. I used to play three, but I think it became like it became too much at the point that I used to draw another one, so I had two in my starting phase. I was getting quite redundant of that, so I dropped it to two instead, and it's been doing like wonders since. Next, I have the mandatory and trap of the deck. You gotta play three Ash Blossom if you're playing Salamangreats. This is like the best card you can recycle with Sunlight Wolf. So in case you don't know, you can negate something with Ash Blossom, and then when a monster is summoned into a zone that Sunlight Wolf is pointing to, Sunlight Wolf effect activate, and you can just grab a fire monster, and the Ash Blossom sets into fire monster. Yeah. Next, I play three Flame Buffaloes. Players like that different players tend to say that Ladybug would be the choice, but it's way harder to negate Flame Buffalo in the graveyard than Ladybug on the field. And Ladybug doesn't do a thing like Blue Buffalo does. Buffalo allows you to chain link with Balinks. So let's say, for example, you really want your Sanctuary, you can chain link one Balinks and then chain block with Buffalo so that they cannot negate the Balinks, which is super good. Or you can do it the other way. You really want to draw two cards and you don't need Sanctuary that much because of your starting hand. Well, let's just say that you discard first, and then after that you chain Balinks to get your Sanctuary, which is, I think, the latter is the one that I do most often. Yep. I really prefer to have two free cards than just search Sanctuary. I can always wait the next turn, especially since the strategy doesn't revolve much like it used to be around Sanctuary and recycling a Rage, Roar, Gazelle with Sunlight Wolf. Now, instead, you can deviate from this and go into Splash Mage, resurrect a monster, and then go into Decode Talker Eat Soul. Yes, because this card is legal. If you haven't got it, you can get it by going to the shop and buying the Salamangreat structure deck for 500 gems. Yep, this is the only way you can obtain Talker 8 Soul. You cannot dismantle it, you cannot generate it. Nope. You have to buy the Salamangreat structure deck. And this card is amazing for this deck. So yeah. After 3 Flame Buffalo, I play 2 Ghost Bells and Haunted Mansion. This is basically so I can negate Call by the Grave, anything graveyard related stuff, and it basically serves as a better DD Crow for me. Yep. Next, I have 3 Foxies. This can always switch in between. I think Foxy right now is better than having 3 Spinnies. I think that you can send the Foxy to the graveyard with Silent Mining to search, for example, a Gazelle, you know, and then you normal summon, not special summon. You normal summon the Gazelle. You send Falco to the graveyard. After that, you use the Falco effect to bounce back your Gazelle to hand. And then after that, you special summon the Foxy by pitching the Gazelle to the graveyard. And after that, you still haven't special summon Gazelle, you know? So you can always like recycle it with Sunlight Wolf. And then after that, you can use Sunlight Wolf and let's say update Jammer for Transcode or even Eat Soul. And you just go and special summon Gazelle and you have another free material on the field because you already used the second effect to pitch the Falco, but it's a free material, and with Gazelle and Transcode Talker you can go into Mech Knight Crazy Over Max, which I'll begin talking about later. Why this card is in my deck. For those who already know, and congrats. But there's no surprises. It's really because there is one line in which I can end up with Evermax on my opponent's turn, and it's just like ruins their day. So yeah, so 3 Foxies for now. Like I said, I can always like variate between having 3 Spinnies or 3 Foxies. It's really like, will I see the need to do it? Who knows, you know. And next, because Master Duel is so freaking fantastic, it put Gazelle back to 2, and this, my friends, this changes like a lot of things. First, consistency. Second, second, Pot of Desires, because you know, when you had only one Gazelle, you would rely on getting it from the deck as soon as possible, then activating the Desires. But now, since you have 2, my friends, you can always have no fear, activate Desires like in a last resort situation, and have less chance of banishing a Gazelle. Yep. Next, the 2 Spinnies. After that, the Falco. This is mandatory. Sometimes your Sanctuary is in the graveyard, and Falco is the only way to retrieve it. Same for like the Circles or Trap. It just like really helped the deck. And why wouldn't you have a Falco in your deck? Also, it's another material for Baguska, which I will speak later. Next, I play 2 Jaguar. Same reason for the Gazelle and the Pot of Desires. If you play only 1 Jaguar, you're a madman, in my opinion. You can. You're just a madman. Like, why would you do that when you can banish it with Desires? Or if your opponent banishes your Jaguar, you lose one of your best form of extenders, you know? So, and you also lose like a free way to recycle with the Sunlight Wolf. Next, I play the Nibiru. Yes, this, my friends, this deck is extremely weak against Nibiru, the Primal Being. And yeah, so by having it in my deck, there's a card in there that I will speak about up a little bit later. But having it in my deck really makes it so that there's a card later that will make it so when they Nibiru me, I can just answer. So next is the 3 Pot of Desires. I could put this back to 2 when I might do that because of the next card, Silent Mining, you know. I don't really need to see Pot of Desires as much as possible, and there's always the fact that I'm kind of wary about using a Desires and drawing 2 Desires. some things that can happen. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't want. I want to have zero chance of that happening to me. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who likes to gamble, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is a game about you have to know the stuff that you do. You cannot take a gamble sometimes. So, yep, desires. I might put this back to 2. And as you see, I'm like 6 tokens, 6 ultra rare tokens away from having another chance to craft something. And I was thinking about crafting another sign at mining, yeah. Maybe I'll do that, yes. Next sign at mining, this is, like I explained earlier, this is a really cool way of, like, summoning Gazelle, uh, sending Falco, recycling Gazelle, summoning, like, the, Foxy and, everything. So yeah, this is nice, you know. So yeah, this is just cool. So yeah, if this card is normal summon or special summon, so whether you normal or special, you can send something from your deck to your graveyard, which is good. Now the juicy part, Sanctuary, you know. This allows us to basically give another effect to our Sunlight Wolves, which it would be to add back a trap or a spell, Salamangreat specified, from a graveyard to a hand. So sometimes with Foxy, if you don't want to discard a monster, you can always discard a trap or a spell, and then you can retrieve it with Sunlight Wolf once you used it as a material for itself. So that's pretty cool. Sanctuary also, you don't really need to play it more than one. And yeah, that basically, think of it like what's the fill spell that they always play as one? Yeah, Marin says Battle Ocean. Think of it as exactly like this kind of deck, but for Marin says. They only play one Battle Ocean. You only need to play one Sanctuary. Next is Will of Salamangreats. Part of me wants to put this at 1. But having 2 is way better, I think, because you can always, like I said, banish it with desires, and you can, if when you have 2, it just makes it that you always have something to extend your plays. For example, you know, if you don't have a way to use the graveyard efficiently, and you draw Will of Salamangreat as your like only card, you can do stuff. But once again, it's kind of fishy, but it works, and I'll take what works all the time. Next, Do Call by the Grave. Thank you, Master Joel, for playing this at 2. Yeah, I am a TCG player. In TCG, this card is at 1. This card is also at 1. This isn't limited. Yep. Call by the Grave at 2 is mandatory. This deck is extremely weak to end traps, such as the aforementioned Valor. Maxi is alright. You can Maxi on Salamangreat, but your opponent's gonna have like a freaking huge hand. So if they Maxi, you better like just not accept the challenge. Yeah. It's that simple. You basically end your turn on Tico, Talker, Eat Soul, and you pass. Yep. Next. 3 circles. This card at 3 is insane. You can activate this card in your draw phase, guys. Yes, you can. You know those cards, like, let's say, you know those cards that can only activate in standby or in main phase? Well, if you're in draw phase, my guy, boom, they cannot negate it. And this allows you to grab Gazelle or any Salamangreat monsters you want. And more than once, I actually used the last of the second effect, not last, but yeah, kind of last, but second effect of Circle to make one of my Sunlight 12 completely immune. And this saved me in a replay against Despia, because their Mirror Jade couldn't do shit against me. It was so funny to see. Yes. Alright, then the spicy card, cross out designator. This is, I think, mandatory if you want to play, if you want to elevate Salamangreats in Master Duel at the highest point. You gotta have an answer to Nibiru, and designator serves as the purpose for this. You can also use designator for, as you can see, I play a shitload of end traps, and yeah, you can also use the Veiler, Ascend the Veiler, or Maxi, or the Ash Blossoms, or the Ghost Bell. Again, the Nibiru, the Infinite Impermanence, or even a Call by the Grave. Why not? You know. And in the mirror match, this is this is insane. Yeah, you can banish you can banish a Gazelle to negate a Gazelle, and that's just funny because why not, you know? Next is the two imperms. Like I said earlier, I prefer the one Vader two imperms than three imperms. Next I play two Rage because I think this card is better than Roar, and why I play two, because I can always banish it with Desires. And Roar is basically there because, you know, you can always have the Rage in your starting hand. For example, if I draw 5 cards here, yeah, exactly, you know. So I can always have like the Rage here. And my play here, I hope to draw a card. Let's say I summon Foxy, I have 3 cards. What do I have with this? Okay, I have the 3 best, so here I would choose Gazelle. Perfect. Then you know, I would send Gazelle, Foxy to grave, dang, boom, then perfect. And then with Gazelle, I would send the Roar right here. And yep. So I would end my board with Sunlight Wolf, able to retrieve back the Gazelle and the Roar, then end with a Roar, a Rage, a Crossout Designator, a Maxi, and the Ash Blossom that I had in hand. Yep, that would be a freaking good board going first. Yep. Okay, so next, the extra deck. I play one Mirage Talio, one Baguska, 2 Bailings, not 3, 2, make place, 1 Update Jammer with 1 Transcode Talker, and 1 Access Code Talker. This is like the OTK package of the deck, which I think that you're gonna end your games 75% of the time with Update Jammer, Transcode Talker, and Access Code Talker. Next, I play the Marvel of this deck, Sunlight Wolf. This is the recycling machine. You can basically do everything that this deck needs with it. Next, I play one of my favorites, IP Masquerena. This, my friends, this allows you to go into Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax on your opponent's turn, or if they have a card on their field that you cannot overcome, you can always use it as a material for Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, because, you know, this card says you can also use one monster your opponent controls as a material to link summon this card. Thank you, IP Masquerena, for letting me link summon in my opponent's turn. And by the way, if you're not aware, the monster that used Masquerena's material for link summon cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. So this is indestructible by card effect, but as much as I'd like to take one of their monsters for the just for the summon, I like the Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax even more, because, you know, this card cannot be targeted with card effect. So let's say you used Sunlight 12 and Masquerena to summon it. Now, not only cannot it be targeted with card effects, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. It has 3000 attacks. Your opponent cannot choose any monsters to battle then discard. They have to attack Crusadia Max, and if they use a special summon monster from the extra deck, or just a special summon monster, as the text says, you can make this card gain attack to that opponent's monster's attack during damage calculation only. So how can you get rid of this when it cannot be targeted, when it cannot be destroyed? It has to be destroyed by battle, but you gain the attack. It's just ridiculous. And cherry on top, little cherry on top, if this card somehow go to the graveyard, you can shuffle one card on the field to the deck. That, my friend, is what I call broken. So yeah, Baguska here I think is the best between Abyss Dweller and him. It just serves as like a, a really good way of interrupting your opponent if you go first. And if you somehow manage to retrieve Falco and Jack Jaguar, which does not really happen that well, but in case it happens, you have Baguska to go into, and they cannot really do shit against it, except if they have a kaiju or like, except if they negate it. Yep, so that basically sums it. Eat Soul would be the last card I would talk about, but I don't really need to talk about it. It's just like you pay 1,000 life points, you draw a card, and it's a quick effect. And if you have less than 2,000 life points, you can banish this card from the field, special summon one Link 3 or lower Cyrus monster from the extra deck. And most of the times, I have boards in which Transcode is linked to Eat Soul. Eat Soul goes up to 3,300. And if I'm 2,000 life points less, or less, I just special summon the update jammer. And then, boom, free access code. So yeah, that was my deck. I hope that you liked it. I'm sorry if I really talked a lot. I had a lot of explaining to do, my thought process about this deck. Yep. I'm about to be climbing later on. I think I will be like making videos on YouTube. If you guys want to watch, it's free to you. I'm not like forcing you to do so. It's your free will, but in case this really interests you, I'm just saying that I will be like probably filming my progression through gold, because I'm gold right now. I'm gold 4. I was plat last season. I'm a returning player, so yep. And since I'm working too, I don't really have much time to play this game. But I'm willing to go back into Diamond, like I did in Season 5. And yeah, I would be glad to if you would be part of the journey with me. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful time of the day. And as I always say, I'm sorry. I'll see you later. Bye bye.